Hi, welcome everybody. It's Mike Newton down here at Lytham Golf Club. We've got a brand new driver to review, and I thought it would be appropriate to wear blue for this video because it's the new Mizuno ST190G Driver I'm going to take a look at today. But there's one slight little twist to this. It's not actually blue anymore. We've now got a beautiful black looking club head. So let's look at this club in a little bit more detail. We've got GC2 HMT on the floor as always, so we're going to look at some data, look at some performance numbers this, and I'll give you my feedback on its performance and feel. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the new driver from Mizuno, and there's been a bit of hype around this driver since it was sort of released online. And it's, I think from what Mizuno was saying, it's their first driver that's gone into tour players' bags and gamed pretty much straight away from testing. So it's been their biggest uptake from the tour pros than every other driver they've actually produced. And I think last year's driver, the ST180, was a really good driver. Obviously it had that blue finish, and I think this switch now to black is stunning. It looks amazing. I mean, you put that down by the golf ball, it's a beautiful look. It's quite a larger head from front to the back. But the finish on it, that gloss black finish, that carbon effect there, the blacked out face looks, I think just looks absolutely 10 out of 10 from Mizuno in terms of that looks. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why the tour guys will have put it in. I'm guessing they won't like that blue so much. The black, I think, is definitely going to tick a box straight away. And obviously they put it in the bag for more reasons than just the look of it. Obviously it's performance. So Mizuno's saying this is a very sort of low spin characteristics in the 190. We saw a little bit of that in the 180 in the review I did on that video. I was quite impressed with that spin number. This is saying it's a little bit more low spin again, and there's a little bit more technology packed in this drive, which we're going to sort of talk about through this video. So I'm going to get the first one hit to kick this off. It sits beautifully behind that golf ball. Just that Mizuno Rumbird logo on the top, just to help with that little bit of alignment. And that's a lovely sound to it. Now, caught that a little bit heel. It's flown very piercing on that ball flight there. Didn't quite get all of that. That's 291 run out. As I say, caught that a little bit heel. Probably the good thing with the black, that spun at 2,500, which isn't bad for heel strike. I can just, you know, with the black face, I can just see that dimple mark there, which is just a little bit low heel. So tend to see low heels really spin up. 2.5's not bad at all. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the technology packed in this driver. So we'll start with the club face first. So we're seeing an SP700 titanium club face here, which I believe is 10% stronger than the 6.4 titanium face that they've had previously. So a little bit harder on that club face, or a bit more strength, probably helping a little bit more of energy transfer into the ball to help a little bit on ball speed. We've got the wave technology, which we saw introduced into the ST180 last year, and I think that's just been enhanced a little bit more. So that cavity, that sort of recessed section just behind the bottom of the club there, and the club face is a little bit deeper, a bit bigger. Then we see some waves as we go back through the sole of that club towards the back section of it. So again, that's compressing and flexing, and again, putting energy back through the club face and back into the ball to help with sort of ball speed. Let's get another one hit. It does look beautiful behind the ball. It sits great. Yeah, that's better. It's a great sound to it. It's that muted sound, but with a little bit of a click to it. So it feels sort of powerful in a way. It feels like it's really sort of going to get that ball out there. So I like the acoustics of that. It's very nice sort of sound, and it's not loud. It's just that slightly more muted, which you tend to see with that composite titanium sort of mix on the head. So that last one there was a better strike, and you can see that spin number then dropped around that 2,000, which is really good. Now the other big sort of talking point with the driver is we've got some movable weights in the heel and the toe. So we've got two tracks that run parallel to each other in the heel and toe section, with two 11-gram weights in each of those. So those 11-gram weights can be moved obviously backwards and forwards, but they can also come out of the track, and you can have both in the heel section or both weights in the toe section to give you that draw or fade bias. So there's quite a lot of options to go out here. Now I've got these set, one in the heel, one in the toe, and they're both in the far back section as you possibly can. It does look like they've got room to go further back, but they can't, because once you've taken to that back section, they actually come out then, so that's the way of getting them out of the tracks. So I've got it set in the furthest back position, so we know that's going to create a little bit more forgiveness, but maybe a slightly higher launch, higher spin, but that spun it around that 2000 with that strike. So getting some good low spin numbers for me anyway, even with them in that back section. So it'd be interesting. I'm going to flip into that front section in a minute and see what sort of changes that makes. Lovely ball flight. Lovely ball flight. Yeah, I don't quite, 298. Didn't quite get over that 300 with that particular shot. That spun at 2.8, so crept up a little bit more there. I might just cut that a little bit, yeah, a little bit lower in that club face. So again, we know strike's just going to override spin numbers a little bit. But I think for me, when I get that low strike, I tend to creep into those 3,000 marks. So if I can keep it below that, that's a good one. I mean, visually that was great to look at. So Mizuno have put a bit of thought and a bit of attention into this acoustics of the driver, which I think does sound really, really good. And they call it a harmonic impact technology, which sounds great, doesn't it, literally? Where basically they put some little ribs inside the head, which is breaking up frequency as obviously the ball strikes, and creates a vibration and a sound through the internal part of the club. So that breaks up and obviously comes out as a different acoustic sound. And I think they've got it absolutely on the money there. The sound of it is very positive crack to it without it being too loud in terms of decibel sound, but it's not absolutely dull, where sometimes I think you can get a feel of it being a bit dead off the club face. So I think they've got the balance there really, really nicely, which is good. Okay, let's get another one hit. Absolutely 10 out of 10 with the looks of it. It's stunning behind the ball. Yeah, again, good flight on that. Feels great. Feels very solid on that club face. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to move these weights a little bit further. Well, I'm going to shove them right forward. So keep them in the heel and the toe, but the two 11-gram weights, I'm going to move right into that front section. That should ideally give me a little bit less spin, but we're going to see if it changes it, if anything, or by how much. Okay, so now got both weights shoved forward. You just noticed on that last one there, you see how that got well over the 300-yard mark there, and that actually spun at just under 1900 with those weights in that back section. So we'll have a look at that a little bit deeper, and obviously it goes to show maybe how my strike, my delivery can change the spin numbers a little bit there. Accordingly, but maybe we've got to look at this over multiple shots. I mean, I'm only hitting really sort of 4 with each here, so obviously through a fitting you go into a little bit more detail. I think you've got to look at it more as an average, but it'd be interesting to see how these weights now move forward possibly change those spin numbers as an average. Okay, that looks a bit lower and a bit more low spin. Definitely wasn't climbing there. Be interesting to see what that trundles out to. So there's 310, carried at 278 and spun at 2100. So straight away there, that was a nice sort of low spin number, but we did see numbers like that with the weights back. So again, we're going to look at it as an average. Different gravy, as they say. That has made a significant difference there. That's 314, that last one. Right, let's go and check some numbers out. 2 different settings there, same head, same loft, just moving those weights. Again, looking at it as an average. We'll have a look at what those changes, that spin has actually happened. Okay, so let's look at some numbers. So we've got the obviously weights at the back in that top section of the white colour flight, and then weights forward in the blue. So we've got 2 lots of averages here. So we can see ball speed pretty much has stayed the same. Launch is actually a touch higher on average with the weights forward, which sort of goes against what it sort of would do in a way. But again, my strike point will sort of change that a little bit more. But you can see as average there, we've got that drop in that spin. So I'm averaging at 1970, which is a great number for me. And that is one of the reasons why I'm averaging then at 312 total distance. So it's a good 10-yard pickup there. Again, over an average of, it's only 4 shots. Again, you'll be hitting more shots through a fitting session, but I'm picking up 10 yards over those 4 shots. So as an average there, you see my tighter numbers 2-1, 1-8, 1-9, 1-8. So with the weights back, again, strike will change it, but you can see that 2-8 varying down to 1-8. So there was 1 or maybe 2 low spin there with the weight back, but then there was a couple of higher spinners. So again, through a round of golf, you're wanting a higher percentage of your averages to be lower, or your averages to be lower, to make a difference over a round or over multiple rounds. Right, okay guys, so there we go. There's the ST190G Driver. So this driver is only available in a 9-degree loft, but then you've got the neck sleeve to move it up or down by 2 degrees. So you've got a range of movements there, but it's only available in right hand only. The ST190 is available in right and left, and a couple of other loft options. That video will come in very soon to a channel if it's not already on there. There'll be a link somewhere to go and check that one out. Performance wise of that, very impressed. That is, Mizuno have upped the game. They have joined the arena of the big boys in terms of the driver category. We know where Mizuno stand with irons, first class, aren't they? The driver now, I think is coming up there with the big boys. So that's definitely one to go out and test there for yourselves. Big difference in moving that way. It feels great. The sound is absolutely on the money. The look is beautiful. I think they've made a really good performing driver there. Very impressed there. Big thumbs up to Mizuno. A lot of shaft options to go at. So again, as always, my message to you guys is to go and get fit, get trying these different settings, different loft options. But if you're wanting a low spin driver with a little bit of adjustability, get that on your radar to go and try. Love to hear your comments as always. Fire them down below. Is that something that has maybe surprised you from Mizuno? Probably not a surprise for me, because I've seen a little bit of the hype. It's gone in some tour players' bags pretty quickly there, so it'll be interesting to see how that sort of sells and performs going forward. Price wise for this in UK, England, I think it's going to retail around $449, with the non-adjustable ST190 around that sort of $399 mark. So that's obviously in pounds. So it's in that higher bracket, but we're seeing a trend of that through all brands really. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Love to hear your thoughts. As always, I'll try and reply to as many as I possibly can. If you're enjoying the content and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. You're going to miss out on some videos if you don't. Obviously ring that bell, then you definitely won't miss a video. Follow my social media platforms, both Instagram and Twitter. Both handles there are @MNGolfCoach, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.